Welcome back. Last week, we learned a little about God transforming things that are already there to provide for His people. But what if there is no water to be transformed? What can God do when there's nothing there for Him to transform? Easy. He satisfies the need in a different way. Look with me to Exodus 17, verses 1 to 9. Directed by God, the whole company of Israel moved on by stages from the wilderness of Sin. They set camp at Rephidim. There wasn't a drop of water for the people to drink. The people took Moses to task. "Give us water to drink." But Moses said, "Why pester me? Why are you testing God?" But the people were thirsty for water there. They complained to Moses, "Why did you take us from Egypt and drag us out here with our children and animals to die of thirst?" Moses cried out in prayer to God, "What can I do with these people? Any minute now they will kill me." God said to Moses, "Go on out ahead of the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel. Take the staff you used to strike the Nile and go. I'm going to be present before you there on the rock at Horeb. You are to strike the rock, water will gush out of it, and the people will drink." Moses did what he said, with the elders of Israel right there watching. He named the place Massah, testing place, and Meribah, quarreling, because of the quarreling of the Israelites and because of their testing of God when they said, "Is God here with us or not?" If you did as I suggested last week, you may spot some similarities between this reading and the one in Numbers 20, verses 2 to 13. Both contain an account of Moses hitting a rock with his staff and water gushing forth to satisfy the thirst of a weary nation. Today's reading tells what happened the first time when the people were new to desert life and knew they had to trust God to provide, while the reading from Numbers tells what happened after approximately 40 years in the desert, when even Moses had become a bit complacent. But back to my question. How can God provide when there's no options left? He'll do the impossible. At Rephidim, there was space to camp, and the people had learnt to trust God for their daily supply of food. But there was no water. This made it a strange place for God to tell the people to take a rest. Do you know what it's like to go without water for even one day? Now imagine you're in a desert. The people were thirsty, and their thirst made them angry and afraid. They turned and accused Moses of leading them to their deaths, demanding he provide them with water. They had seen the miracles God enabled Moses to perform in Egypt and expected him to do the same here in the desert. Did they understand that it was God working through Moses' obedience and not Moses himself that caused the miracles to happen? Yet God was merciful, to this young nation and provided water from the most unexpected source. He did it with the elders as witnesses to the fact it was a miracle and not magic trickery that they would have been used to in Egypt. Is this the only time God caused water to flow unexpectedly? No. Turn with me to John 4, verses 4 to 30. To get there, he had to pass through Samaria. He came into Sychar, a Samaritan village that bordered the field Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was still there. Jesus, worn out by the trip, sat down at the well. It was noon. A woman, a Samaritan, came to draw water. Jesus said, "Would you give me a drink of water?" His disciples had gone to the village to buy food for lunch. The Samaritan woman, taken aback, said, "How come you, a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink?" Jews in those days wouldn't be caught dead talking to Samaritans. Jesus answered, "If you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh, living water." The woman said, "Sir, you don't even have a bucket to draw with, and this well is deep. How are you going to get this living water? Are you a better man than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well and drank from it, he and his sons and livestock, and passed it down to us?" Jesus said, "Everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again and again. Anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artisan spring within, gushing fountains of endless life." The woman said, "Sir, give me this water, so I won't ever get thirsty, won't ever have to come back to this well again." Jesus said, "Go call your husband and then come back." "I have no husband," she said. "That's nicely put. I have no husband. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now isn't even your husband. You spoke the truth there, sure enough." "Oh, so you're a prophet. Well, tell me this. Our ancestors worship God at this mountain, but you Jews insist that Jerusalem is the only place for worship, right?" "Believe me, woman, the time is coming when you Samaritans will worship the Father, neither here on this mountain, nor there in Jerusalem. Your worship guessing in the dark. We Jews worship in the clear light of day. God's way of salvation is made available through the Jews. But the time is coming, and has in fact come, when what you're called will not matter, and where you go to worship will not matter. It's who you are and the way you live that counts before God. Your worship must engage your spirit in the pursuit of truth. That's the kind of people the Father is looking out for, those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. God is sheer being itself, spirit. Those who worship Him must do it out of their very being, their spirits, their true selves in adoration. The woman said, I don't know about that. I do know that the Messiah is coming. When he arrives, we'll get the whole story. I am he, said Jesus. You don't have to wait any longer or look any further. Then his disciples came back. They were shocked. They couldn't believe he was talking with that kind of a woman. No one said what they were thinking, but their faces showed it. The woman took the hint and left. In her confusion, she left her water pot. Back in the village, she told the people, Come and see a man who knew all about the things I did, who knows me inside out. Do you think this could be the Messiah? They went out to see for themselves. Did you see the link? Did you spot the water flowing from the rock? Turn again to verses 13 to 15 and then 28 to 30. Jesus said, Everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again and again. Anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artisan spring within, gushing fountains of endless life. The woman said, Sir, give me this water, so I won't ever get thirsty, won't ever have to come back to this well again. The woman took the hint and left. In her confusion, she left her water pot. Back in the village, she told the people, Come and see a man who knew all about the things I did, who knows me inside out. Do you think this could be the Messiah? They went out to see for themselves. I'm not saying that the Samaritan woman's heart was literally made of stone, but it must have been hardened by her miserable life, having buried 5 husbands, possibly having never been blessed with children, and to be so bullied by the local women that she is forced to fetch water when all the respectable people rested in the shade. Her life was hard. And yet, Jesus said he would cause a spring of living water to flow from within her. Just as God caused water to spring out of the rock in Exodus and in Numbers. And then he did the impossible, as proved by her immediately leaving him to tell everyone that would listen that she had found the Messiah. He made streams of living water flow from her heart as she became a messenger for the gospel. Are you thirsty? Do you hunger for more of God? Have you tried asking fellow believers about him? Have you sought for him earnestly within the scriptures? Have you knocked on doors to test if what you have learnt is true? This is how I have studied. I recommend it to you. Test my words. Let me know if you have found them accurate or if you have found falsehood. One of my most persistent fears is to unknowingly teach lies. So I ask that you help me to reveal the truth by using the comments box below. If you find no falsehood in my words, please also share them with others. Let them know the truth. But above all, God bless you. I'll see you next week.